What's up, Facebook? It is Tuesday morning. We got to slide over here.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm going to slide back, and Melissa and
We're gonna
Craig
get in
can
here.
slide in.
Yeah.
So, good morning. Yeah, you can't see. We can't see you. Okay. So
I
there
think we
go.
like each other.
So we just wrapped up our Greater Baltimore Board of Realtors Board of Directors meeting today, and I'm here with Craig Wolf to my left and Melissa Evans, and these guys have been tirelessly working with our local legislative committee to really protect your rights and fight for what's important to you. And so I wanted to, literally just said, hey, I want to go live. I want to interview you guys. So, because there was some really, really cool stuff being brought. And Craig, I wanted you to tell us about something that happened last year that was brought, it was widely publicized in the news, and I want you to tell them what you've done. Because you just found out that it just came out of committee, didn't you?
Well, yeah, there was some legislation on local covenants for homeowners associations that listed protected classes as being excluded from those associations. It's not legal anymore, but it was still on those covenants. And what we're working for is to be able to find a mechanism to remove those covenants from the record and make sure that there doesn't appear any kind of discrimination to anybody who wants to buy a home that can afford a home.
So while anything in these covenants that were loosely related to a fair housing violation was not able to be enforced any longer, however, it was still really a smack in the face for someone who fell into, for example, I think it was Rogers Forge.
Rogers Forge. There's several of them throughout the state, and it just gives it looks bad. It gives the impression that these associations are trying to discriminate, which is nothing of the kind. This is historic from the 50s and prior. So, but there wasn't a mechanism to remove that information from the covenants without going through a long legal process that's expensive for some of these small associations. So, through GBBR and the Maryland Realtors, we're putting together that mechanism to support legislation that hopefully Annapolis will agree to. It's House Bill 1066 that we're talking about, and we're working with support to get those accepted and passed this year.
So you also just found out that it is going to have a hearing next week?
Hearing next week. The GBBR supported it strongly, and so did Maryland Realtors. So what that means is when we'll have our lobbyists who will go to the legislators and speak on it, and we will have actually testimony in Annapolis for the committee.
That's awesome, Craig.
Exciting
Thank you
stuff.
for doing that.
Sure, it's fun.
I think a lot of people don't always understand either whether it's realtors in our industry or the consumer public understand what the Association of Realtors, what your Association of Realtors does for you. And one of our biggest things, we are the largest political advocacy group in the country. We are well over 1 million members strong, and here in the Baltimore area, that is what primarily what we do. And so Melissa here, I'm gonna reach and turn the camera a little bit. There's Melissa. Hello. Melissa is gonna talk to us about, so in early January there was a bill presented that wanted to raise the transfer tax and documentary stamps on your purchases of homes in Baltimore City. And we met with every single city councilman in the city council. See, I'm not as good as you are. I'm going to let you just do it.
So I'll take it from here. So we've been busy with the city council. This legislation that Alicia mentioned would be an increase in the transfer and recordation tax, which is what the buyers and sellers pay to both the city and the state when they transfer real property. So this increase would have spelled out for an average purchase of $200,000 in Baltimore City. We're talking about an increase in a buyer's closing costs of about, was it $1,200?
It was $2 per thousand.
$2 per thousand,
So it would have increased overall on an average $250,000 purchase by an increase of $1,200, which is already like $2,300 more expensive than the neighboring jurisdictions.
Yeah, if you compare Baltimore City's existing transfer and recordation tax rates, they are higher than our surrounding jurisdictions. And because Baltimore City is in a unique position where we are landlocked by other counties, we're particularly sensitive to any increase like this, because anything that makes housing in Baltimore more expensive is going to be, we're definitely going to see an impact in the housing market. When you're competing with a jurisdiction that already has higher property taxes, and you've got, higher property taxes, and then you go ahead and add a higher closing cost price, then it's just going to contribute to this overall housing unaffordability in Baltimore City. And that's not something we want. So, as Alicia mentioned, we met with all the members of the City Council. We expressed to them how important it was for us not to, raise revenue on the backs of people who are buying and selling property in the city of Baltimore. And as of now, that bill has been tabled. So we were successful there. Today, we have two of our members from the Legislative Committee who are actually testifying in the City Council as we speak on a bill for rental registration. And this is a bill that would establish a program in Baltimore City that is somewhat similar to the Baltimore County program, with an inspection required for rental licensing. Overall, we feel like this is something that's going to happen anyway, but it was very important for us to have a seat at the table. So we had a subcommittee on the Legislative Committee that sat down and reviewed the bill line by line and came up with multiple suggested amendments that we are now presenting today to the members of the City Council. And because of our work and our strong relationships with those council members, we have been able to, they come to us as the experts, and they really listen to what we're saying when we're talking about real estate issues. So that's happening today, so stay tuned for more on that.
Yeah, so it's just so important to understand that what we do is an organization that fights for, whether it's your job or your career as a real estate agent or your investment as a homeowner, a real estate investor, whatever. We're here protecting your rights, your ability to buy and sell homes, your affordability to buy and sell homes in Baltimore City and Baltimore County. We will be, again, upcoming, the county executive county council race is happening this year, so we will be interviewing all of the potential candidates for the county council coming up, and so that we know that we can, because this is what we did. We interviewed last year every single potential city councilman that was slated to be on the city council. In that case, we have a relationship with all of them. So when this bill about the transfer tax increase was presented, we had relationships with them that we could easily say, listen, we really want to talk to you about this. We want to let you know that this is not a good thing. And while it had okay legs and it needed, there's a reason for it, we understand, but the unintended consequences was just too great to ignore, that it just wouldn't have worked. So the fact that they all very willingly, and we all had all these meetings within under 2 weeks, was really impressive. They were attentive and interested in hearing what we had to say. And because of all those meetings, we were able to get that bill tabled. So this is just a small snippet of what we do as the Greater Baltimore Board of Realtors Association. And again, I thank you for taking the impromptu, and I'm going to turn it again here. There's Craig, so we can see Craig. And so thank you for hanging out on Facebook Live. And if you guys like this, give us some love, heart it up, and we'll do a few more little updates to let you know what's happening, all right?
I was about to say, the legislative session goes through mid-April, so
I know, right?
We've got a lot more legislation that's going to be coming up.
So, all right, so thank you. There's Melissa. Goodbye. And there's Craig. Say goodbye, Craig.
See ya.
See ya.